Good morning. We're back.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to day 2 of our Kindship Launch Summit. Wow. This morning has been much less stressful than yesterday morning.
It's been a breeze. It's weird.
You look like very glamorous today with like the wave in your hair. And
I washed my hair. I had a long shower. I feel like a new woman, honestly.
Excellent. And you got your coffee. You're not gulping it today. You're kind of just sipping, which is nice.
No mum buns in my hair.
Well, I'm kind of getting there. By tomorrow, it'll be a mum bun. Day 3, all up there. Hey, Lauren. Hey, Tracy. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. All right. So, hey, Amanda. So day 2 of our summit. Yesterday was
so good.
Extraordinary. No, not our bit in particular, but the panel. There was so much goodness. There's so much wisdom in your lived experience, and those 3 women yesterday just demonstrated that, in spades. So if you didn't watch yesterday, you need to go back and watch it because it was awesome.
She's got a bossy pants.
Yes, you have to watch it. There was so much value in it. It was so good. So don't watch maths reruns. Go back and watch the summit.
Totally. I had goosebumps over and over yesterday. And we knew, like Sandy said this yesterday, we knew the questions that we were going to, or the context of what we'd be talking about. But I think just hearing it again and all such different women sharing their experiences, I booked out of that course so inspired all over again. They're awesome.
Yes. Yeah, totally. All right. So let's get into today. Can I share? Or can you share this?
Add to stream and hopefully it works.
There we go.
Okay, good.
All right. So in case you missed yesterday, we'll give you a quick recap on the Kindship app because this is our Kindship Launch Summit. So this summit is all around rewriting the narrative with disability and parenting. So, so often this space can get caught up in all the negatives, but for us, this is really about thriving through our journeys, and we all can, and really valuing your lived experience as the wisdom that it is. So we hope that you leave at the end of these 3 days feeling all empowered and inspired, and with some really cool info as well, because we've got some super cool guests coming up the next 2 days.
Perfect. Someone said just quickly on our audio room call this morning, and I loved it. I think it was Marisol. She might jump on soon, but she said that this space and even the culture within the app already is just so empowering. So it's not so much obviously it's a place to share what's going on and what's happening, but the ethos is about empowerment and really changing the way that we feel in this journey. And I suppose that's everything that we could have ever dreamed and hoped for. So
yeah, we made our hearts really happy this morning. Thank you, Marisol.
Shout out this morning.
I know. So if you haven't met us before, this is how we roll. We're pretty fly by the seat of our pants. What you see is what you get. My name is Sandy, and that is my co-host Steph.
That's me.
And we are co-founders at Kindship. So we'll be running the 3 days of the summit for you this week. So what is Kindship? Kindship is a social networking app for parents just like you. So parents of kids and adults with disabilities or additional needs. And it's a space where you can connect, you can share your lived experience and your wisdom, you can ask questions, and you can really build some skills that'll help you and your family in navigating this journey. Did you want to add anything, Steph?
No, beautiful. All good.
Excellent. Got it down to a sentence or 2.
I'm trying to keep it concise.
Excellent.
Add on forever if we could.
The other thing that we need to fill you in, this is a short version of yesterday because we know some of you are watching the second day and you don't want to hear it all again. So we do have a competition though. So if you're watching the summit and you want to win a prize, then this fits for you. So we have a co-design event coming up. So with Kindship, the whole concept with this is that we don't just want to make an app and then say, here, use it. We want you to tell us what you want, what you need, and how you want the app to look and feel and what you want it to do so we can start building that. So we're holding an event I actually might let Steph explain it because she's doing all the planning. But you can win a ticket to the event.
The ticket. It's so awesome, guys. So at the end of May, we will be hosting our first Sydney-based event. It's going to start in Sydney, and ideally, we'll be running an event in every state. That's the dream. It's the idea anyway. So, and what the purpose of the event will be is so that we can really bring in members of our community to provide feedback and ideas and really kind of become part of the Kindship team. Because whilst we say, you know, we want to co-design this app with you, you know, and get your feedback, it's actually so much more than that. We actually really want like a community of empowered parents to be part of the experience and constantly making it better. And not just for launch, like long term, which is the best part. So basically what we need is your help, but you need to download the Kindship app, like our socials, and there's a little form, which I'll pop in the link here. And it's just basically telling us maybe why you'd want to be there, maybe some ideas. Already in the past 24 hours, I've had a few submissions, and some of the ideas and feedback and thoughts are just like so cool. I'm already like, oh, yes, that's amazing. So we value you so much. So if you like, if that sounds like you, also, like, it's not all work. It's actually going to be like a beautiful morning.
It's a brunch.
Say that. It's a beautiful.
Share some ideas and come for brunch.
Exactly. It's a beautiful brunch. So we've got like all the beautiful like aesthetics at Centennial Homestead set up. We're going to have some little goodies and all the good
stuff. Don't tell them all the secrets.
I'm not telling all the secrets. I promise. I'm actually not very good at keeping secrets. I'm not talking. Thanks for the reminder.
So please enter. We really want to, you know, have as many of you enter as we can. So there's 10 tickets to give away. So you can win one of those 10 tickets. All right. So day 2, we are so incredibly excited to welcome our beautiful friend Mel Dimmit. I was just saying to Steph that I think the last time we talked to Mel was on her podcast. Yes. So it's really cool that we can interview her on our summit today. So, Steph, I'll let you introduce Mel. You go.
I was just going to say, like, really, she's basically this amazing human who has this, like, rollout of professional things that she's done amazingly, which I'll let her share them with you. She's author of this special book. She's a podcaster. She's just recently released her beautiful magazine called Blend, which is just so cool. But more than that, like, from a personal perspective, when we started walking this journey with Charlie, the special book came into our life and we connected with Mel. And I can't even begin to say 3 years on how much of an impact this book made on my journey, like as a mum, because it really gave me like peace of mind about like just grounded me to the situation. You know, it's so easy to get carried away with all the what ifs and the fear and the loneliness, but it really grounded me to that. So I'll bring her in a minute and she can share more with you because she's just awesome. But it's such a cool thing. And I really love her insights about parenting and about diversity. So I'm excited for her to share.
And she's just an amazing human. She's just so lovely.
Yeah. She's the best.
Let's just chat with her. Let's go.
I'll just bring her in 1 sec.
You can stop sharing the thing too.
Yeah. Welcome.
Guys, you're like making me cry. I'm a bit tired. And you're like saying all this nice stuff. I'm like, oh God. Because I remember when we first met, you guys were so lovely and you helped me promote my book special and you shared it with your community and we went for a cheeky wine in Leichhardt. And I was just like, oh, my people, just like instant love. And I'm so excited about your new, you know, this beautiful merger. I've known Summer and Tara for a while as well. And I think you guys together is just a match made in heaven. So I'm really excited about all of this. And yeah, huge congrats.
Thank
you so much. Yeah, it's I was thinking back to that day where we had that cheeky wine in Leichhardt and went through the book and looked at everything. And I've actually got it here this morning. I pulled it out again because I was going through it and it's so awesome. Like, I feel like it needs a reread. Like literally you cover everything, like fear, grief, loneliness, guilt, hope, finding your people, like all the stuff that we talk about in this community as well. So yeah, you're just great. Anyway, I'm giving you a big head now. But
she deserves it. She can have whatever size head that she likes.
Yeah. Well, look, share a bit about yourself and your family with us, just for a bit of context for the community.
Yeah, sure. I'm Mel. I live with my partner Rowan in the Southern Highlands of New South Wales. We escaped Sydney a couple of years ago
didn't
with
know that.
COVID. Yeah. Yep. So it's
Lovely.
fucking freezing. It's a top of 12 here today. We've moved to the England of the Oz.
Yeah, beautiful though. Oh my goodness.
It's gorgeous when it's not pissing down rain and freezing. So no, very happy here. We live. We've managed to buy a house that's big and flat, which works beautifully for my son Arlo. He's 6 now. He's got quadriplegic cerebral palsy and epilepsy. It was his diagnosis that we got when he was 6 months old that projected us into this space. I always say we had a crash landing into the disability space, as I think a lot of parents who have zero familiarity with disability experience. So it was getting his diagnosis of cerebral palsy. You know, he was our firstborn, our beautiful little baby, and you know, me being completely ignorant and having no idea about disability, certainly not knowing what cerebral palsy is, and Googling quadriplegic cerebral palsy. What I was getting back, that was sort of the inspiration for me to write Special, which the process of writing it saw me interviewing over 50 parents raising kids with all kinds of disabilities all over the world. And just, you know, they were all a little bit further along in their journey. And I just said, help me. I feel like absolute crap. I'm so sad. I'm so scared. I can't see a good future for my son or for our family. Please tell me this isn't what I think it's going to be. And each and every one of them, you know, despite being in very different experiences in different countries with kids with different things going on, all were coming up with these common themes, you know, things that they all struggled with at the start, things that they still struggle with sometimes. But the big, beautiful message that came through was, you know, this isn't what you think it's going to be. Disability is not a bad thing. You're going to have a beautiful and very interesting and very full life. And they were all right. So it was a real comfort to me creating that book. And while I haven't looked at it since it came out 2.5 years ago, and I'm thinking of bringing out a new edition with some slight updates. It's so rewarding now that I'm still getting feedback every day from parents all over the world who've read it and who have found comfort, because those early months and years even are so hard. They're so hard. So the fact that this book is providing any comfort to people in those stages just warms my heart. It's great.
I just got goosebumps listening to you talk, like about what those people said to you and how, like, it's not what you think, and there is so much like goodness to be found in this journey, because that's really what we want to promote. Like it's kind of like rewriting that narrative around that mindset that disability has to be something negative.
I suppose it comes down to like expectations as well. This is something that it keeps coming up in my brain a lot recently with Charlie going into like a school environment, just getting a bit bigger, and there's like different expectations. I can feel the shift. Like she's not a baby anymore, and I can like we're supported, but there's definitely a shift, and she's trying to find her feet. And I suppose like it's finding that expectation and that middle ground of like, okay, this isn't maybe what I thought it was going to look like, but like when something amazing happens, and even if it's really small, we celebrate it. Like it is like so massive, and I feel like that's where the joy comes from, that's where the awesomeness comes from. So if you can try and find those little moments of joy in amongst all the normal chaos of life, like that's really the key, right?
I think we get both extremes. Like we live a life, and I guess, you know, I feel lucky because I never wanted a normal life. I always wanted an exceptional life. I didn't think this would be what it was, but I'm so happy now that it is. And because of my son, we are getting this exceptional life where we feel very low lows at times, but the highs are just phenomenal. And I know that we would not be feeling these feelings and having these experiences if we weren't living, you know, if we hadn't veered off the typical path. So I'm super grateful for that.
Yeah. So why do you think it's so important for parents to have a community or to surround themselves with a community?
Humans need community. There have been so many studies done that show that this is what we need to be happy. It's as important as food and water. We need human connection. Oh, sorry.
So good.
You guys saw that? I got a bloody phone. I thought I like set all my notifications to not go off. And I'm back. And I think in the case of, you know, when you have a child with disability, it feels like there are a lot of communities set up and in front of you for typically developing children. There's a hell of a lot of books. You know, anyone who says, oh, there's no manual for raising a child. Yes, there is. Go to a bookshop. There's millions of books for like typically developing kids. So many platforms, so many resources. But I feel like when you have a child with a disability, if you're not already hooked into this space, you feel so alone. And that's why it's so incredibly important that we can connect with other parents who are raising kids with disabilities going through similar things. So we can talk about stuff that we might otherwise feel ashamed to talk about, or just feel that we wouldn't be understood. You know what it's like. And as soon as I started writing special and connecting with other parents, I was like, wow, there is something to this. It's the thing more than anything else that makes you feel better. So this is why, you know, platform app like Kindship is so bloody important. I think as well, connecting with other parents in the space, especially ones who have kids who have a similar disability or going through a similar journey. Another reason it's so important is for the welfare of your child. You can ask questions and you're going to get probably better answers than you'll get from medical professionals who might not be anywhere near as familiar with what's going on with you. You know, the things that have really helped me and Arlo in this experience have come from parents. I've certainly been finding that since last year when he got a G-tube put in. Parents have been the ones to help us through this really tricky transition. So you need to be connected so you can ask the questions, you know, what socks go over AFOs, or, you know, my kid is doing this, what will help, what's the best kind of pillow to support this stuff that you're just not going to find the information anywhere else. So I think for you and for your kid, it is so important that you're connected.
Totally.
I remember being like going into like a Google scroll hole, like when we first started, like when the doctor said, oh, like let's look at autism very, 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 very early on. And I was like, oh my God. And I would search for YouTube clips like online of families like living with autism and just like vloggers, like just to see, and not for anything, just to see like what their life looked like, just for like a little bit of insight into that. Because from my perspective, like at that time, I didn't know anybody who had like a child that had anything else going on or that we were aware of. So I suppose when I connected with Sandy, it was like, I was like, oh, you're like me and you've got an older daughter and you're like sitting here in a networking meeting, like doing life. That's awesome. So, and I suppose our community built from there, and just the stories and the people like that we've been able to surround ourselves with over the past 3 years is extraordinary. I think it, you know, it is definitely testament to like our own support as well. We love them so much. So.
Mel, I loved what you said about like learning from other parents, because like whilst I know that like therapists and doctors and stuff are really important, I feel like they're really good at theory, but the practice, like the practical stuff, is where parents come in, and they have put the theory into practice, and sometimes the theory doesn't actually work for everybody, right? So we have to find ways around that. And I just think parents are so incredibly creative with the strategies that they come up with to support their kids, and there's so much to be learnt from that lived experience, which we talk about a lot, but I feel like sometimes parents don't recognize how valuable that lived experience and wisdom is for our community.
So valuable. And like, we know it's been quite alarming to realize, because I, you know, my dad's a doctor. I love doctors. I have so much faith in the medical profession, but it's been quite alarming to realize that we actually know better. I was reading an interview with a parent who's got a child called Cameron, I think, who's got quad CP, and she's like, I'm a Cameronologist. And I'm like, I'm an Arloologist.
That's Rachel. That's Rachel.
Okay, there you go.
She's watching today. Rachel,
hi. Oh, there goes. I was just going to say I'm an Arloologist. Luckily, I cited my reference.
So she came on our last retreat, and why I remember, because she said, I'm a Cameronologist. She said that to us. Yeah.
How good is that? That's perfect. And that's what we are. Like, we know our kid better than anyone else. And I wish I'd kind of realized that sooner. And, you know, we've got great medical professionals in our lives. But again, with our recent journey into tube feeding, it's been a bit of a nightmare. And I've just found we've had to go on gut. We haven't been able to rely on medical health as much. And again, we've had to rely so heavily on a community of parents raising kids who are tube feeding.
Yeah, I suppose with like a community as well, you over time become empowered in your voice. So like maybe to then be able to say, oh, actually, no, like a few people have shared a similar experience and I'm going to say something next, or I'm going to ask this question, or I'm going to, research my options, and then like not knowing that is actually something that they're allowed to do.
I think that's so important. And like when Emmy first got diagnosed with autism, I remember going to the pediatrician who like diagnosed her, and I had done some research and I took gluten out of her diet, like based on the research that I'd done. I could do that when she was 2.5 because she wasn't so sassy and determined to get her own way, but now forget it. But it made a difference, like immediately, like within a few days, like it was like a fog had been lifted from her eyes. And I remember really clearly, she was sitting in the trolley, we'd been to the shops, and she looked up and it was like she saw a bird flying in the sky for the first time. Like she was just like in awe of this bird. And I was like, oh my God, that was like huge. And I told him about it. And you know what he said? Like he's like he scoffed at me and he told me I was an idiot.
Oh, see.
Yeah. And I said, see you later.
Yeah, good. New doctor.
I was just like, no way. Like, and he was a dinosaur, mind you. He actually fell asleep in one of our appointments. Like, I was like, I wonder if he's dead. Like he was like this. I was like, are you okay? So that and the idiot thing, and I'm just like,
moving on.
Yeah, surely there's another professional that will work with us. You know, like if I want to try that with my daughter, they should be like, great, give it a go and let me know how it goes. You know, rather than...
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, sorry, I'm a bit obsessed with tube feeding at the moment because that's where we're at. But yeah, I was chatting with a dietitian, and like blended feeds is a big thing, putting real food in the tube. That's been our savior. And I was in a webinar and a parent asked, and I was interviewing a dietitian, and a parent asked, I want to explore blended feeds for my kid, but our dietitian and pediatrician are saying I can't. And the dietitian just came straight out with get a new pediatrician and dietitian.
Oh, wow.
Like if you need people to support you, to listen to you, and a good doctor will listen to you. And if they don't know, tube feeding for an example, not all doctors know much about that, and a good doctor will ask you, well, what do you think? And that's the difference. So if you're not vibing, if you're not feeling that, just move on. There are plenty of pediatricians and dietitians or whatever you need out there. I was going to say, again, go to your community of parents and say, I need a good dietitian, or I need a good pediatrician. I live here. Please recommend. And then you'll get the good ones.
Yes. Yeah. From my perspective as well, I had to learn this. Like we waited months and months on this wait list for the best doctor in Sydney, like when we were like back. And she was great. Like I'm so sure that she's like an amazing doctor, but maybe not for this specific part. Like because it was very like, oh, well, she's making eye contact with me and she can draw a person and she smiled at me, so I'm not worried about autism. And I was like, well, it's not really as simple as that. And especially like in girls, there's proof of different representation. But so eventually we like did research and we found this amazing doctor who spent 6 hours observing her at her school, basically had us in for like a couple of different visits just to see like her cognitive skills and then just how she interacted with me, and sat back, observed, brought us in and asked us as her parents so many questions before she was able to come to us with like a 50-page document to submit to her school for all the bits and really give us support. And I was just like, oh my God, this is what we need. Like, just those doctors or those professionals or any teachers, whatever, who are able to just look like a little bit deeper into the process. And I suppose it's also up to us to ask the questions in that respect. So, yeah. Sandy, were you going to say something? I feel like
I was just gonna say, like, even with like our own GPs and stuff, like it's so important to find like one that you vibe with. My GP, he's a bit eccentric, and I often get these weird rants when I go in there, which are quite funny. However, I always leave like an hour because I know he's going to get in and like he talks about the weird stuff. But he's very medical, he's very like medication and treat the things. But when I go in with something like with my hormones and stuff as being like all out of whack, he goes, no, this treatment would not be right for you. You're not at that stage. Don't you have one of those people that you see, like the naturopath? He goes, go and see them. Like, they know more about this than I do. They've studied it more. Like, so I like that because it's not, I think sometimes with medical, it can be a bit of ego. Like they're supposed to know everything and then they don't want to like almost refer. But he even said to me once, look, go and see that dietitian or naturopath because they've studied that for 4 years and I only did like one subject at uni. Yeah. I was like, that's so awesome, like that a doctor can do that. And I feel like we've all got to find that person who we vibe with and it's the right fit.
And they're honest when they say, you know, I don't know about that. But it's really cool when they refer you to someone who does, or when they themselves do a bit of research into it and find stuff out for you.
Exactly. My GP, his daughter actually has MS. So, and I have MS. So like, that's why when I go in, he wants to chew my ear off because like I'm one of his favorite patients.
Does he say that to everybody or just you?
But he knows everything there is to know about MS because his daughter has it. So like, what a perfect match.
Yeah.
So Mel, who's in your circle? Like from a personal perspective, did you have to really build your village when kind of starting this journey, or were you lucky enough to have like friends and parents and stuff that were able to kind of jump in and support you guys straight off the bat?
Yeah, look, friends and family were all really good. They were didn't know anything the same as us. So I guess they couldn't really help from a practical side or anything, but they were all very supportive. I'm lucky in that Ro and I were able to travel this journey together. We both work remotely. We both work flexibly. I know a lot of the time it's the mum and all the appointments dealing with all the stuff by herself. I'm super lucky that Ro's been a huge support. We've been aligned in this. I don't take that for granted for a second. The beauty of writing my book is that it connected me with the people I interviewed for the book. Then in promotion, it connected me with people like you. That is the best thing I did for myself. And, you know, because of that, I've got lots of friends who are raising kids with disabilities who I can talk to. I guess, you know, when times are getting tough, certainly at the moment, I've relied really heavily on Arlo's disability support worker, Maddie. I do a lot of work for a company called Higher Up, who are a disability support provider, and we met her through them. And she is always around, like she's here for 4 or 5 shifts a week. I'd say to any parent who's yet to explore disability support for their kid, look into it. It's amazing. So she's Arlo's support, but she's also a support for our whole family. And she's around, and I talk to her all the time about things I'm worried about. And yeah, because again, you know, the rough patch we're in at the moment is to do with tube feeding. So I've got kind of a tailored group. I'm chatting a lot with the mums I've connected with in this space. So Sarah Thomas, who's the founder of Wholesome Blends, has been a massive support for me. I remember Arlo got a G-tube taken out the other day, and it was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And I sent her a picture of this like rancid, rotting G-tube that had come out of his tummy. And I'm like, just tell me this is normal. And she's like, so normal, not even bad. I'm like, yes, thank you. So it was so gross. And because blended feeds make it more gross, but perfectly normal. And sort of the nurses were like, oh, I don't know. Sarah Thomas was like straight away, nah, so fine, love it. That's, what did she say? That's a well-loved G-tube or something. And in our new area, we've connected with other families who it's really nice to have people you can actually go for a coffee with, COVID allowing. So I've got a lovely friend, Sinead, locally, who's got a child with Down syndrome, and another friend, Sarah, who's got a child with Down syndrome. And that's cool because our kids are all kind of going to the same schools and the same providers and stuff like that. So it's lovely having super local friends, which again, I know the Kindship app, you've obviously got functionality where you can find people who are local to you. So I think that's really important. It's great. We've got all these online, you know, you can connect with anyone in the whole world. But I do think there's something very special about being able to physically go for a coffee or get your kids together for play dates. That's huge. It's been beautiful seeing Arlo develop friendships with, you know, typically developing kids, but also kids with all kinds of disabilities. And I love that his sister Odie, medically boring Odie, is growing up.
Medically boring. I don't
know how else to say it. Yeah, she's typical, whatever. But yeah, she's growing up with friends with all kinds of disabilities and different walks of life. And I wish I'd had that really broad experience as a kid. And I can already see that that's making her very cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what's their relationship like? Are they really close, your kiddos?
They're brother and sister. So they have good moments and bad. Mostly it's sweet. Mostly it's really nice. They do, like, Odie knows exactly what to say to Arlo to make him smile. There are certain lines from his favorite books that she just goes up to him and like recites. The humpback whale held out his tail and on crawled snail after snail after snail. And he just like themes. And they have a lot of stuff in common. They love the same songs. They love the same movies. So they do spend quite a bit of time together and have this beautiful kind of mutual understanding. Arlo does get frustrated with Odie when she's running around a lot. We find, I'm like I get that. It's pretty crap that she's able to just run around the room and he's not. But it's amazing how they've found ways, and it's mostly Odie's initiative. Like when he's practicing his walking, she'll come and hold his hand and walk next to him. And it's nothing that we've asked her to do, but she just does it. And I sort of wondered with her how she was going to go with making friends growing up with a non-verbal brother. I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. But she is so confident, loves making friends. I don't know if that's anything to do with Arlo, but it certainly didn't come from Rowan and myself, who were super shy kids. She just walks into a preschool and owns it within a day and just adores making friends and things. So she seems, we haven't gone the whole forgotten sibling route. I think she seems quite well adjusted, and they have a beautiful relationship. It's lovely to see.
Oh, I love that so much. So what is your advice now? I'm going to wrap up in a minute, but what would your advice be to parents who are just starting out on this journey and who might be feeling really disconnected and alone and that sense of fear? What would your biggest piece of advice be for them?
The obvious thing is to sign up to Kindship, get on the app. If you're ready to connect with parents, this beautiful, easy platform that you can use through you guys. If it took me a little while to be ready to meet other parents raising kids with disabilities, I couldn't even say the word disability for a long time in relation to my son. I certainly didn't want to, it sounds terrible. I just didn't want to associate with other people raising kids with disability, because I was like, that's not me. I'm not you. I'm nothing like you, which is annoying because that really helped me once I did get there. To those people who it's really fresh and you're not ready, I'd say dip a toe in by listening to podcasts. The 2 Ps in a podcast, amazing. The Mama Bear podcast, it's an American one by Mary Susan McConnell. So good. I think that's a really good place to start. Books. If you're not ready for special, I'd say Far From the Tree, Andrew Solomon. That book really helped me a lot in the early days. And there's, you can join once you're ready, the Facebook groups. Again, Kindship group, and kind of just linger in there if you're not ready to say anything and just see what's going on. So yeah, I think start with the podcast. Then once you're ready, thank goodness for you guys are there to actually, because it's hard, especially at the moment with COVID. I was making friends in waiting rooms in Arlo's therapy centers with other parents, but I worry now that parents don't have the same opportunities with restrictions and the crazy world that we're living in. So this is the beauty of your app, is that there are other ways to connect.
Yeah, I feel like COVID was less than ideal for our community, for us, everybody, but it gave us a chance at the time, Sandy, to be able to kind of go back to like what we're trying to achieve and like the resources that we can provide. And we were doing at one point, like I think we were doing a Zoom call every day in COVID, just everybody connected. It's not the same as being in person, but it's just something. So we hope that kind of helped people through that time, definitely. And I think now when we can meet up for coffees or retreats or whatever, those are just so much more like celebrated experiences. Don't you agree?
Totally. Yeah. They really are. There's a few comments in the chat. I don't know if you want to highlight just some experiences with like health professionals and stuff. If anyone has any questions for Mel, just want to pop them in the chat too while we have a look at some of these comments. So Joanna said that she was told by many health professionals that she was an overwhelmed mum and her child was just strong-willed. she can talk, she's fine. Until at 9, we received an ASD and ADHD diagnosis. All the years wasted thinking I was not a good enough parent. That hurts my heart, Joanna.
Yeah.
And it's not rare, which is the scary thing. Like, a lot of parents are made to feel like it's their fault that, their kid's not fitting in the box that they want to put them in. Lauren's doctor told them not to do food elimination because it might be annoying. Oh, wow. There's lots of things that...
I don't even know what to say to that.
I don't know either. And Tracy said she was told the same thing for another, and then she got another pig. Good job, Tracy. Follow your mum gut. I think it's so important to follow that intuition that we have. It often steers us in the right direction, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that's all we have today for questions for you, lovely Mel. Thank you so much for joining us. It was just, it's always lovely to chat to you. But yeah, it was great to kind of do this under our new kindship banner.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, guys. I'm really excited about the brunch/lunch in Sydney.
Are you coming?
Like, I am totally coming. Yeah.
We can't wait.
Real life.
It's going to be good. I know it's been way too long. But yeah, huge congrats again, guys. I love it all. I love the photo shoot you did. The branding's so beautiful. And I'm big into how things look. And I'm like, this is...
You can thank Summer for that.
That's Summer. She's amazing. Eye for colour, like really specific palettes of colour and how things look together. She's a magician. So
yeah, she is. So if you want to meet Mel in person, you have to get in the competition to win your ticket to the tournament. Go.
I don't know if that's going to incentivize anyone, but hey.
I'm sure it will.
Be nice to clink a glass.
Yeah, that's it.
For sure.
Thanks for joining us, Mel.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. Bye.
Oh, that was so cool. I love talking to her.
Cool. I love her.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. So our next session is actually not on here. So our next session is in the Kindship app. I've scheduled an audio room. It's actually for 11:30. So that will give people some time if they don't have the app yet to make sure that they've downloaded it. So if you go to the App Store or the Google Play Store and download Kindship, you'll just need to set up your profile. And then can you just share the last slide for me, Steph?
Yeah, I've just put the link into the things just in case.
Okay, so our next session is in one of our audio rooms. So we had one this morning and it was so cool. Like, it was really fun. So it's kind of like, how did someone describe it to you on Wednesday, Steph? Like a live podcast that you can interact in.
Yes. So like they were making breakfast and answering emails, and they were like, we love it because we can just gain some value if we're too busy to talk, or if they want to kind of contribute, they can just press the button to say ask to speak and contribute or have a conversation. And like we said, like a lot of the morning coffee and chats are very just relaxed, catch up, share something. If you need help, you can troubleshoot a question. So it's kind of a really beautiful way to set up the day, right?
It is. Yeah. And we had a few new people on this morning, and some of them were like, I don't know how to use this part of the app, and we could talk them through it like live. It was really cool. So it was good to be able to do that live. Tracy, Tracy's still confused about how to do the competition and what date the get together is. So can you fill her in?
I will fill you in. So on the page, there is a post which I'll tag you in, just because there's been a lot. So I completely understand if you've missed it. We've had content going out left, right, and center. But basically, you just need to be on the app, make sure you've liked our socials, which you know you're kind of all over it. And then there's a link. And in the link, if you just complete like the questions, basically like tell us why you'd like to be there, what maybe you might have some ideas that you'd like to share already, or maybe just a bit about yourself and your story. Pop that in there, submit it, and then on Saturday, what day is it? Tomorrow lunchtime, we'll be announcing the winners. There's 10 spots to give away, and it's going to be on the 31st of May. So we've got a little bit of time in the lead up to that, but it's going to be a really beautiful morning. So if you would like to be there to have, some beautiful, yummy food and some connection and fun and to share as well, then it's there for you. So go.
Awesome.
Apply.
Yeah, go. All right. So will be in the app at 11:30. Okay, so when you go into the app and you've registered, down the bottom on the bottom menu bar, there's a little icon that kind of looks like, it reminds me of like a radio icon, like it's a little circle type thing. You click on that and that will show you where the audio rooms are, and you just literally join the audio room. And you'll be able to see what's going on in there, and we'll give you some more instructions when you're in. But we can't wait to see you all in there and you get to experience it.
Yes, just quickly as well, if you're in there already and you've got the app, just make sure you've updated it and got the most updated version, because I think there was like a couple of people who, because we're doing so many changes at the moment, like it's literally our engineering team are incredible wizards. Like I'm not even going to try and pretend I understand what they do because they're amazing. But they're constantly making changes. So make sure you go to the App Store and get the most updated version so that you can access all of the newest features.
Yeah. Hey, Marisol, yes, you can set a reminder. So when you go into the app, if you go into the audio room now, there's a little bell icon next to it. If you click that, when we open the audio room, it'll send you a notification to let you know that the audio room's starting. Yeah. So that's functional, because I know Michelle did it yesterday. Yeah. So she was like literally straight in there. I was like, oh, that was fast. She goes, I set a reminder. I was like, oh, yeah, it works. So, great question. Thank you for asking. There you go, Michelle.
All over it,
awesome.
team.
All right. Well, it's 11:11. We will see you at 11:30 in the audio room in the Kindship app. Okay. And tomorrow when we draw the competition, it'll be in the app as well. So
yes.
It'll be in the audio room. So it'll be good practice for you to get in there.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. We'll see you over there. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.